Hi, today we're going to talk about reported speech. Basically, that is what we use to tell someone or report to someone what somebody else said earlier. The reporting verb, the said or told, so on, is in the past. The tenses in the original sentences change. We'll look at that in a bit more detail in a moment. We also usually have to change the pronouns that are used in the original sentence. For example, if Tanya said, "I like pop music," when we report it, we say, Tanya said she liked pop music. Because you can't say I when you say Tanya said, because you are not Tanya. So we use the pronoun that refers to Tanya, she. After said and told, we can use that if we want to. It's up to you. So in this previous sentence, you could say, Tanya said that she liked pop music. It doesn't change the meaning. You can use it either way. We need to also think about the words that refer to time and place. They might change in a sentence, especially if you report what someone said at another time, maybe later in the week or the next day. So, for example, tomorrow would change to the next day. Here would change to there. This becomes that. Yesterday becomes the day before, and so on. Let's look at some examples of changes in tenses and verb forms now. For example, I like swimming. Present simple sentence. This becomes, she said that she liked swimming. We change it to the past simple. I'm traveling tomorrow. Present continuous. He told me that he was traveling the next day. The present continuous becomes past continuous, and tomorrow becomes the next day. I'll pay you back next week. He said that he would pay me back the following week. The will becomes would, and next week becomes the following week. I watched TV last night. She said that she had watched TV the night before. A past simple verb becomes the past perfect, and last night becomes the night before. I've cut my finger. He told me that he had cut his finger. So present perfect becomes past perfect. I can't visit you. She told me that she couldn't visit me. The can becomes could, or can't becomes couldn't. I may be late. She said that she might be late. May becomes might. But if we use might in the original sentence, it would stay the same. That doesn't change. Should and would in the original sentence would also not change in a reported statement. I must finish my work. She said that, or he said that he had to finish his work. Must becomes had to. And don't touch this. This is an instruction telling us what to do or what not to do. So when we report it, we say, she told me not to touch that. This becomes that. If it were a positive instruction, for example, touch this, we would report it as she told me to touch that. Now, let's talk about questions. Tenses change in a question just like they do in sentences. And if the answer to a question is yes or no, so basically if the question begins with an auxiliary verb rather than a question word, we add if or whether into the reported question. For example, do you want some cake? The answer would be yes or no. We report it, he asked me if I wanted some cake. So want changes from the present to the past, just like with a sentence. We add if because it's a yes, no question. We could use whether. We can say, he asked me whether I wanted some cake. It's no difference really. Whether is slightly more formal, that's all. The word order changes to a subject plus a verb, and we remove the question auxiliary verb. So if you notice in the previous sentence, do you want is the question order. We take away the auxiliary verb from the question. So do is taken away. And we have the subject followed by the verb. I wanted. I am the subject, wanted is the verb. For example, are you single? He asked me if I was single. Did he agree? She asked me whether he had agreed. So in both of these questions, the answer is yes or no. We don't have a question word. We take away the did from the second question, and we have the regular sentence word order. We use whether or if. In the first question, are you single? Are is the main verb. It's not an auxiliary verb. So we just change the word order so that it is the subject followed by the verb. I was. Your name becomes I asked him what his name was. So we keep the question word. We don't need if or whether because it's not a yes/no answer. Is becomes was, and we have the subject, his name, followed by the verb was. Where do you live? They asked me where I lived. So again, we take away the auxiliary verb do, and we put we have the question word followed by the subject followed by the verb, and the tense changes from present to past. There are a few common problems that people have with reported verbs or reported speech. So one issue that people have is that if you report what someone said very soon after they've said it, you actually don't need to change the tense. I mean, you can, but it would make perfect sense to keep the tense. For example, Adam says, I want chicken for dinner. If you're reporting it soon after he said it, you could say, Adam just told me that he wants chicken for dinner. I want is the present tense. He wants also in the present tense because the fact is still true. Selina said, I had a great day at school today. If I'm reporting that on the same day, I can say, Selina said she had a great day at school today, because the fact has not changed. The time has not changed. Another common problem is that people mix up when to use a pronoun after said or told. We use it after told, not after said. For example, he said me he was tired. We can't use a pronoun after said, so we get rid of that. He said he was tired. Some people get it the other way around and they say he told he was tired. We need the pronoun there. He told me he was tired. I hope you don't get those confused. I hope this has helped you. Thank you for watching.